Hi, everyone, and welcome to Divine Resolution Tarot. For those of you who are new, my name is Chanel. For those of you who are returning, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to read for all of you. It is truly my honor and pleasure. If you're in need of a personal reading, the link is in the description box below. I'm doing a sale on video readings, 1 and 2 questions. So if you're interested, make sure that you check that out. This reading is intended for the sign of Capricorn, Sun, Moon, Rising, or Venus. If you're watching for Capricorn, you're going to want to reverse the roles because it'll feel as though I'm speaking to you about your Capricorn. Now, Capricorn, I know you saw the death card wanting to come out so bad. And I was just waiting to see, okay, is it coming out upright or reverse? What's it doing? Bottom of your deck is the 10 of Pentacles, 3 of Wands reversed, 7 of Cups. So this is making me feel like you have a decision to make here. It seems as though you've been investing in a relationship or getting to know somebody, but it's almost like that person is a stand-in for someone else. And that's what I was seeing in the shuffle. Now, I don't know if this is like you are in a relationship with this person, because that's kind of what I was seeing in your shuffle. But it almost looked like, and I'm not trying to offend anybody, but it looked like it was easier to get into a relationship with someone new than to try to fix what was broken with the person that you really want to be with. So I feel like in some ways that's kind of blown up in your face, and that's what you're thinking about at this time, because whoever you're dealing with, I feel like this person is not your match. They're kind of smothering you. You've been dreaming about this other person that it seems like you're wanting to return to. There's an energy of feeling as though it may be time to just bite the bullet and have the discussion with whoever this other person is. Because I feel like as you're looking at your life, you're starting to realize either the person that you've given your heart to, or that it feels like still holds your heart, is irreplaceable, or you feel as though you don't have what you want out of the connection that you're in, versus had you stayed where you were and tried to fix things, where would you be now? So there's a lot of what ifs, I feel like, going on in your mind at this time. Now, if you are dealing with someone, I feel like that person is very confused, because I'm seeing you pulling back from that person. And it feels like rather than them take your behavior into account and think like, okay, something's off with Capricorn, maybe they're not into this, it's almost like this person is pursuing you more. And I feel like that's the opposite of what you want. I'm getting this energy of you really just wanting your space, kind of wanting to be left alone so that you can think. You may find that you're more irritable at this time. And I feel like you're especially irritable with whoever this is that you're dealing with now, because it's almost like, why can't you just take a hint? I want to be alone. What I'll say about that is it feels as though you have a hard time communicating to people around you. And so if you're not expressing your feelings to whoever this other person is, and you very quickly switch up on them, or you very quickly change, they don't know what to think about that. So to them, I feel like you're dealing with someone who's a little bit insecure. And instead of them being like, okay, Capricorn seems like they're going cold, Capricorn seems like they just want some space, they're like, what am I doing wrong? What do I need to do better? Right? And so it's kind of interesting to me, because I feel like you found this person and kind of built a relationship with them to avoid having to fix something with someone else, or having a discussion, or having to apologize, right? And now you've manifested this partner that's super like, I can be whatever you need, just pay attention to me, right? It's almost like this person is agitating you, but I also feel like this is a reflection of what you feel like you should have done with the person that's really on your mind. So kind of interesting energy. I feel like you just want to be left alone, but it looks like you're not getting the solitude that you want to be able to really think about your next move, right? There's a discussion that I feel like you're avoiding, or that you wish you would have had in the past. you could be trying to act like everything's fine at this time in your life, but I honestly feel like for you, behind the scenes, things are falling apart. It's like you're having kind of this epiphany about ways that you've kept yourself stuck based on fears, based on all of the things that you thought could go wrong, versus actually testing the waters, taking the risk, taking the chance, right? And it's interesting because I feel like, in regards to your finances, you could be the kind of person who's a very wealthy, very stable, very good at generating income. But for whatever reason, in regards to your love life, it's like you're not willing to take that same attitude, right? That same like risky behavior where it's like, you know what? I'm going to bet it all on black. Well, you might play the stock market, you might do amazing. But when it comes to your love life, you're just very conservative. And it's almost like you allow all of the what ifs to keep you from going after what you really want. So it feels like, to me, what you ended up doing was going after a sure thing and integrating this new person into your life to kind of fill that void or fill that hole from this past energy, right? Because it's almost like, what's the point of apologizing to someone if I don't even know if this can be fixed? I don't even know if we could be in a relationship together. So why should I have to humble myself or, get knocked out of my element and suddenly be very apologetic? Or, there's an energy of you like wanting to kind of die on your hill of like, I'm right. And maybe for some of you, you're like an executive or you're a leader of some sort, where it's just like when you say you're right, even if people don't agree with you, they have to agree with you because of the position that you hold for work, right? Like you're authoritative. And so people don't much want to argue when you say that you're right. It's just like, okay, well, you're right. Yeah, whatever you need. Whereas with this person, I feel like it kind of turned into this stalemate situation because they decided that they needed something from you, whether that was a discussion about where the relationship was going, whether that was an apology. I'm not sure what it is, a commitment, who knows, right? But when you didn't give it to this person, you were hoping that if you stood your ground, eventually they would see your point of view or they would come around and things could stay the same. I feel like you have a really hard time with things changing if it's not a change that you've put into action, right? You don't like other people around you changing. You don't like situations changing because it makes you feel like you're losing control. So this person, unfortunately, they didn't come around to see your point of view because it seems like this person is just as stubborn as you are, right? So instead of you taking a knee on this one and going in and being like, hey, can we talk? You were just like, whatever, right? I'm going to replace this person with someone who's more malleable, someone who's easier to deal with. And now that's blowing up in your face because it feels like instead of having a significant other, you have some sort of servant or someone who's always trying to like appease you, right? And so it doesn't feel like this person is a challenge. It doesn't feel like this person is your match in the sense that they don't challenge you. But this person also seems to be lacking a backbone. And I think that that's frustrating to you, right? It's almost the energy of you feeling like you have to think for whoever this is, because you could ask them, like, what do you want to eat? And they're like, whatever you want to eat. Or you're like, where do you want to go? And they're like, wherever you want to go, right? Maybe you sit and watch a movie with that person and you want to have a dialogue about the film. And they're just like, well, what did you think? And this person doesn't seem to have like any independent thoughts because they're kind of just mirroring back to you whatever they think will please you, right? I think for you, that's really, really bothersome. And you're missing the challenge of this other person because this other person will be like, oh, that's your favorite thing? That sucks. I hate it. And this is why, right? And so maybe you could have kind of that banter where you playfully argue. Or if this person had an idea, they could stand their ground and support it with facts. Whereas the person you're dealing with now, I feel like is just so, they're just like clay. Like you can just mold them to be whatever. And I don't think that's what you're looking for because to me, you're a very specific kind of person. Like you don't really go with the flow. I feel like it's hard for people to gain your trust and it's hard for people to gain your respect, right? I think probably your whole life, whether it's because you've always been in a position of power or you've always been a leader, you're very used to people kind of just telling you what they think you want to hear. And that's to be able to like make you happy. So I think that whoever this other person was kind of a breath of fresh air. But at the same time, it annoyed you because you couldn't conquer this person the way you conquer everything else. And so in your mind at the time, you thought it would just be easier to find someone who is easier to deal with, right? Well, now you're starting to feel like this person's such a pain in the ass, that you're doing a lot of thinking. But what I think is really interesting is that you're starting to realize that this past person you were dealing with triggered you, right? They actually exposed a weakness in you that I feel like you didn't know you had. This could be somebody that, when they're challenging you, challenging your beliefs, challenging your ideals, perhaps this person is getting you thinking, like, why do I act this way? Why do I believe this? This has always been what I did, but maybe I never stopped to question why I did those things. I feel like when you were dealing with that person, it was really annoying that they did that to you. But now that they're gone, you're kind of looking at your life and you're thinking like, wow, maybe I am afraid of change. Wow, maybe that person was right. Maybe, I was believing this and I didn't have the experience in this situation. I just had the knowledge rather than the wisdom. And so I formulated my opinions. I feel like there's something that this person has done, and it was in the past, but it's just now starting to hit you, right? It's just now starting to make you look at your life and realize that your life is not really a reflection of who you are. Maybe if you've always been a leader, you have to consider what other people think, right? Or you're trying to anticipate what other people think because they just tell you what they think you want to hear. And so it seems like there's other ideas that are governing your life. There's a line of thinking here that's flawed. And I'm not sure how you came across it. It could be that this person that you're really interested in is very, very different from you. And so it's difficult for you to think about having a life with them. Maybe they're significantly older. Maybe they're a different religion or they live in a different place or, come from a different background. It's something where it's almost like this person would have broken you out of what you decided for yourself if you were with them. And I feel like that's kind of why you had a tendency to not have the talk around commitment with this person, right? I feel like now you're starting to think that maybe things staying the same isn't a good thing, right? Because it's almost like with whoever this partner is that you're dealing with now, you went back to what you knew, you went back to what was safe, but it's not what you want anymore. Whoever this other person was, it's like they opened your eyes to the point that now you can't unsee what you've seen. You're not going to be the same person, right? I feel like this person annoyed you to the point that you were like, you know what? I just want to go back to the way things were. I want to go back to my life the way it was, right? Before I met this person. So you probably try to find someone who is similar to the type of person you usually deal with. Or maybe you went back to an old partner, right? Because you knew what to expect. But the thing is like you can go back and recreate your life the way it was before you met this person, but you are not the same person anymore, right? It's just a lie. It's appearances. You're changed. You've changed, right? So I feel as though now you're kind of at this crossroads where you're trying to figure out, what do I do? What do I do with my life? What do I want? Who am I, right? I'm obviously not who I was last year or last month or whatever. I think, though, that whoever this other energy is that you're currently dealing with is smothering you to the point that you're getting really, really frustrated because it doesn't seem like you can have any alone time to just think, right? So what I'll say about that is like maybe communicating would be good, letting this person know that you're not into this because it's almost like you're starting to like, I don't want to say abuse this person, but you're just kind of condescending to them. Like whatever they do is never going to be enough. And this person already has insecurity. So it feels like you're kind of damaging them by the way you're treating them. You get what I'm saying? So if you're not into this, you may want to just release this, right? Now, as I'm looking into your energy for the next few weeks, you got Twin Flame, you got Queen of Swords in the reverse, 10 of Swords in the reverse, Knight of Pentacles. So I feel like the energy of you desiring your other half is being reactivated. I feel as though the issue here is that the person that you were dealing with in the past is still upset. This person feels like they don't really want to talk right now. And I think that's because of the actions that were taken after they said what they said, right? This person probably was like, hey, Capricorn, where is this going? Hey, Capricorn, are you getting a divorce? Are you going to be in a relationship? What are you doing? You know, like, are you with me or not? I kind of feel like you just stopped very abruptly communicating with this person. And then this person could have very well seen you doing something else with whoever this new energy is, or this other energy. And so it just kind of compounded their anger towards you, because before it was like, okay, you're making me wait, but it's us. Whereas now it's like, okay, you made me wait for nothing and you didn't have the decency to tell me, right? So I feel like it's a little bit difficult because this person, even though the two of you are very closely attached to one another, especially with this Twin Flame card, but just being Queen of Swords, King of Swords, they thought this could work. Now their perspective of who you are as a person has changed. So it may be hard to get this person to even listen to what you have to say. I feel like this is like another hurdle, because instead of being able to just have the conversation like you could have before, even if you wouldn't have seen each other's points of view, even if it would have felt like a heated debate, now you have a whole new wall to try to climb, because this person doesn't see you the same. They don't see the situation the same. It's not us anymore trying to figure this out. Maybe it never was us, right? I feel like for you, Capricorn, because there's no cups, right? You have a really hard time expressing your emotions, you know, and maybe that's why you've attracted this partner into your space that seems to be an emotional mess. I'm just going to say it. Whoever this other person is, they are just the complete opposite of you, which I think is really interesting that you left somebody that you felt like, okay, this can't work because we're just too different. But that was on paper, right? Because your hearts and your minds were the same. Then you end up with somebody who I feel like is really the opposite of you, to the point that it irks you, right? So kind of weird, but you know, maybe that's a karmic influence that you've been dealing with this Twin Flame card. So the hard part is this person is mad. You know, they are in a space where I feel like, because you didn't give them anything to go on, being that you're not an emotional person, they tried to kind of assume they knew how you felt, right? But based on your actions or based on what you showed them, you didn't care, you know? And so I think this person would probably tease you like, oh, you know, you love me, you know, you care about me. And you probably like, oh my God, stop, right? The reassurance was never there to begin with, you know? And then when this happened, where it feels like you just kind of left with no real explanation, this person is now like, okay, well, rather than assume that my Capricorn never cared about me at all, I'm going to look at the situation at face value. What did Capricorn show me? Capricorn always was standoffish. Capricorn never really acted like they wanted to be with me. Capricorn never cared. You get what I'm saying? So, you know, I would work on communication and I would work on emotions, being more emotionally available, because it's going to take a lot to get this person to turn around and to look at this again. You know, the way that they're viewing this is that this is over and that they need to do something new, because that's the idea that they've been able to formulate based on everything that they've seen. Now, you have Knight of Pentacles in your spread, and I feel like that's your energy, right? Because this is you coming to the realization that you need to move backwards to be able to move forwards. The difficulty is addressing this 10 of Swords in the reverse, because for you, I feel like the situation isn't over. You still are desiring this person. For them, they're viewing this as, I don't want to be in pain anymore. I have my guard up. I don't even know if I want to hear what you have to say, because of the way that it feels like you left this so open-ended, right? It's almost the energy of you like being with this other person, making plans with this other person, and then very abruptly disappearing and then changing your relationship status, right? This person, whoever this twin is, they might have you blocked right now. You may physically end up showing up to their space, like whether you go to their job or you stop by their house or you send them some sort of package where it's like, hey, here's some flowers. I need you to call me. Because I feel like even though you're ready to have this discussion, to face your fears, what you were afraid of, I feel like is nothing compared to what this person is kind of in a space where they could unleash on you, right? Because this person is pissed. It's almost like if you would have just had the discussion before, it would have been so much easier, because you went from the 3 of Swords to the 10 of Swords. And it's just like, now it's become such a big deal where this person feels as though you are deceptive to them, and you feel like you have something you need to say. So I'm going to take a look in the extended reading to see how this will play out, because I feel as though you will be making a different decision towards the end of the month, towards the beginning of March. It feels like you want to have this discussion, but I'm going to see if this person is open to this, because it feels like they're not. It feels like they're really mad, when I'm picking up on their energy. And so I want to see how this will all play out. I'm also going to pull cards, not just for the future, but for your opportunity, your obstacle, and your advice in regards to speaking to this person. Because when I'm looking at you, Capricorn, I almost feel like you're not leaving whoever this smothering energy is. It's almost like you're just sneaking away from them to try to get a hold of this twin, right? To figure out like, hey, are you even still available? And I feel like that's going to be a huge red flag for this person, because if you're still attached to someone else, in their mind, they're going to view this as you just making yourself look worse, right? It's just like, why are you even here? You're still with someone else. So this is just kind of a big mess. I'm going to take a look at all this in the extended reading. I will put the preview at the end of the video, and I hope to see you over there. Bye. So that left them to try to figure out like, okay, so if it wasn't that, then what was it? Right? Maybe I just wasn't the one for them. Maybe they just didn't care. Maybe they didn't feel what I felt, And so now it's like you're trying to come in and you're trying to incite change. And this person is not working with you, because I feel like you're wanting to be that person that your love wants, right? But now they don't want that anymore. They're just kind of like, whatever, come or go. I don't care. It doesn't matter, right?